Rick Pitino, year 50 of coaching?
51 or 52, I think.
Over 5 decades now.
Yeah.
What would you tell yourself if you could go back in time to the first year coach, Rick Pitino, if you had that opportunity?
First year coach, boy, I was awful wet behind the ears, so I would have probably had a discussion for about 30 hours with that guy.
How much is the energy level and the drive still the same?
Well, it changes. Everything changes. The game changes. You know, one time the basketball game was a low post center, a wing, a high post area, and 2 weak side guys, and everything went off the low post. Today it's 5 out. The recruiting's different. Now they're professional contracts. Now you're talking about signing a player to a 2-year contract if you can. So everything has evolved and changed, and what you have to do is alter your game plan, fit in to the current game plan, and be just as passionate as ever. You know, I'm not one to complain about, oh, this is the way it is and I don't like it. I'm just going to adjust, get the most out of the situation, and try and win.
Donovan Mitchell said in the past year that you find a level that he as a player did not even know was possible. And he said the way that you find that level is through a level of work that he didn't even know existed. How do you find that in players and people?
Well, I remember one time, Donovan obviously was very talented, really worked hard at his game, and he was playing good, but he wasn't playing great. And I took him out of the starting lineup on a big game against Indiana in front of a sold-out crowd. And about 2 minutes into the game, I said, okay, get back in there. And then I grabbed him before he entered the game. I said, if you don't intend on being great, go sit back down. He went in there, and I think he scored 30-some-odd points, and we blew out Indiana. And from that point on, he was great. And a lot of players don't understand what it takes. Kobe did, and Michael did, and Magic did. They understood how much work it took to be great. A lot of players today don't understand that. They think it's just going to be this skill level, and it's really not. There has to be the right type of work ethic also. It's not just about sweating in a gym. It's working on the correct things that are going to make you a much better basketball player.
How much does Zuby Ejiofor understand that?
He does, but right now he's a marked man, and he doesn't understand. He's like a defensive end who's now going to get 2 people blocking him before he can get to the quarterback. So now he's not getting to the offensive glass as easy as he once did. He's the preseason player of the year now. And he understands that. And what I told him the other day, I said, the great thing about coaching against Michael Jordan is Michael didn't try to be unbelievable in the first quarter. He got other people involved. He got into the motion of the offense. And then in the fourth quarter, Michael would tear your head off. So I said, Zuby, just let the game come to you early on because they're coming after you.
How much do you as a New Yorker relish in the sound of this building that is happening again, not just for your beloved New York Knicks, but for St. John's basketball, to walk out through that tunnel last year, to have the confetti fall twice here for Big East regular season and tournament champions, and look around and see that this is reality?
Well, St. John's was averaging about 4,000 or 5,000 people and playing maybe 6 games in the Garden. It takes 13,000 for St. John's to break even. The last 6 games sold out Madison Square Garden, and it was as much fun as any time in my coaching career to see this happen so quickly. So now we have over 10,000 season ticket holders. We're back to where they were in the 80s in just 2.5 years. But now we got to take it to the next level. And the next level is the most difficult because now you're a top 10 program. You've got to stay there. You've got to play an unbelievable schedule, and you've got to be ready early on.
What is next? And how, we know what you want to get. How do you get there with this team?
Well, it's been a grind a little bit. I've got 10 to 15 awesome guys, but they're all new to each other. And we sort of run a pointless offense. I mean, Isaiah Sellers may be the point guard, but Zuby handles the ball just as much as him. So we run a lot of motion. Everybody handles the basketball, and that takes time. That takes a lot of hard work, getting to know each other. And that's the most difficult thing. It's not the offense or the defense that you implement. It's getting those 10 guys playing together the right way.
You're concerned with winning games and winning championships, but I know you're a man of, you love to see terrific musicians. You love to see terrific theater. You're a Renaissance man of sorts. We've had discussions about this. One of the great things about college basketball is when there are figures and personalities, and you're one of them, and people love that. In this league, there happens to be another, in the coach and stores. We at NBC will have one of those matchups between St. John's and UConn. When you think about your relationship with Dan Hurley, what comes to mind?
You know, a lot of people made a lot of John Calipari and I when we were at Louisville, Kentucky, because it was Louisville, Kentucky. And there really was never a rivalry between us. The rivalry was at Louisville and Kentucky. They hated each other. We don't have quite the hatred of those days in terms of Connecticut St. John's, because Connecticut has arrived at a level that all of us are trying to get to. St. John's is nowhere near that level yet. Danny is a terrific basketball coach, winning back-to-back championships. I think there's only been 7 or 8 people have accomplished that feat. But we relish the challenge of playing Connecticut. We relish the challenge of playing a much-improved Georgetown and Providence. But in this league, I think it's back now, in this league, you really can't get caught up with one team because you can get bit the next night.
Your son joins the coaching fraternity in this league. Your son will be asked a few questions, as he tweeted about you. How would you identify being a dad to him and what you've seen from him?
Well, Richard's a prankster. Richard loves to kid around. He's got a great sense of humor. He's a terrific young basketball coach. He understands where he's at. He has no illusions of grandeur with this basketball team. It's the first year. He brought in 14 new players. He doesn't quite have the NIL that the top 5 or 6 teams in the league have yet. That's something he's got to get going on. So it takes time. He'll get it done. He did it at New Mexico. As Minnesota's finding out now, he did a very good job at Minnesota as well. So it's a new challenge for him. He loves the city of Cincinnati. He loves working at Xavier. And he'll be around a lot longer than me.
In this league, how does this league stay at the big boy table?
Well, we had to improve, certainly. We had to improve Georgetown, had to get Villanova back. But Georgetown, Providence, and Villanova, I believe, will be back. Marquette, Creighton, and Connecticut are always terrific. I don't know too much about Butler this year or DePaul. I know DePaul will be much better than they have been. So the bottom needs to come up to the middle. The middle must be closer to the top. And when you have a strong league where you get 7 to 8 or 9 teams in the tournament, then you know you're back.
The NBA is back on NBC this year. If you were to assemble an all-NBA team of 5 people, whether it's your favorite players of all time, back in the heyday, whenever that is, or just people that you have an immense amount of respect for, what's your team?
Well, I'm not going to say it's the best. It's who I would be. I put Kareem at the center because he is one of the most underrated players of all time. I put Larry Bird at the power forward spot. At the small forward spot, Dr. J, because I chose UMass to go play with him. So I'll put Julius at the 3. And then I'll put Magic and Michael and Kobe be my 6th man. Now, I'm not an anti-LeBron guy. I think LeBron is awesome. It's just I coached against those players and go back to those players more so than the current days.
What excites you more, a Red Storm win or a Johnny's Red Storm win?
Well, a Red Storm win, definitely. Horses are a pastime, a hobby. Basketball's my life. If I lose, I feel like taking a dip in the East River. So I don't feel that way when my horse loses.
What's the plan for Johnny's Red Storm?
So Johnny's Red Storm was a very inexpensive horse. It cost $60,000, and when you hear $6,600,000, this horse cost $60,000. I split it with my partner John Cronin, and he's 2 for 2, and he won $1 million race at Kentucky Downs. And now he's getting ready. He's on the shelf for about 90 days, and then we're going to try a Kentucky Derby run. But he's already brought back so many fun times in those 2 wins. So whatever happens now is great.
What got you into horse racing, and what do you love about it?
When I went to the University of Kentucky, I got to know Seth Hancock of Claiborne Farms, the Mighty Secretariat, and Mr. Prospector, and Danzig. And we brought our recruits out. And one by one, the great horses would be marched out to meet the families. And then Big Red would come out at the end, Secretariat, and they all take pictures with Secretariat. So I got to know the breeding, got to know it. And one of the reasons I'm coaching at 73 years of age is all the millions I've lost in the horse racing business.
I know you've been through a lot of experiences in your career, but I'd heard that you had said ahead of the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, never been on the Tonight Show before. Take us through, one, that experience, and the song that became something that's played at St. John's games.
Yeah, all throughout the Big East and the NCAA. And the thing that struck me most is what a nice guy Jimmy Fallon was. And I'll tell you what I mean. He greets everybody, smiles at everybody, looks them square in the eye. Our cameraman, who was doing a documentary behind the scenes, was filming us talking with the team and Jimmy. And he said to the cameraman, "Put the camera down." And the cameraman said, "Maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this." He put it down. He said, "I just want to say hello to you." And that tells you about Jimmy Fallon right then and there. So we had just a great time. He treated the players awesome. It was great being on the show. And the song became very popular throughout the tournament.